Escomatic coil-fed automatic lathe, model D2 and D4. Setup operator training system. Lesson number 8, stock straightener slide and stock clamping jaws. The amount of stock straightened in one cycle will depend upon the total length of the finished part being produced. If the travel of the straightener slide is too short, the stock will not be correctly straightened. If the travel is excessive, the slide will make the straightener jaws repeatedly straighten the same portion of the stock. This is the stock straightener slide. The purpose of the stock straightener slide is to control the amount of stock straightened on the backward travel of the straightener slide and rotor. The straightener slide is controlled by the straightener slide cam and the straightener slide return cam. The straightener slide cam controls the slide control lever. This is the straightener slide control lever. This slide control lever moves the straightener slide forward and backward. This cam roller, attached to the control lever, follows the slot between the slide cam and the slide return cam. The start of the backward travel of the straightener slide is timed to the high point of the overbend straightener jaw cam. The backward travel time of the straightener slide is matched to the feed lever return cam and clutch cam time. When a 65-degree return cam and clutch cam are used, the straightener slide cam and return cam must also be 65 degrees. This is the operator control side end of the slide control lever. This slide control lever is rule marked from 0 to 2 inches. Each ruled mark represents an adjustment of 1/4 inch. Attached to the slide control lever is this slide roller bracket. This is the slide roller, which is attached to the slide roller bracket. The roller rides in this slide roller arm. The slide roller arm is attached to the straightener slide. The slide roller riding in the slide roller arm moves the slide. This is the slide roller bracket lock nut. The lock nut holds the bracket to the slide lever control arm. The straightener slide travel is adjusted by loosening this lock nut that holds the slide roller bracket in place. After loosening the lock nut, this front edge of the slide roller bracket is then moved to correspond with the desired slide travel. The lock nut is then tightened. You will need to add 3 dimensions together to determine the amount of slide travel required. One is part length. You may have to add a number of smaller dimensions to obtain the total part length. Total length of this part is 559 thousandths. Next, from the layout sheet, you must obtain the cutoff tool width. Cutoff tool width for this tool is 35 thousandths. Total straightener slide travel can now be found. Total straightener slide travel is the total length of the part plus the cutoff tool width plus 125 thousandths extra margin. For this particular part, the total slide travel would be 719 thousandths. You should now check your layout sheet for the production rate for your job. If the production rate for the job is 32 parts per minute or greater, the straightener camshaft ratio will be changed from 1:1 to 2:1. The straightener camshaft in the 2:1 ratio will rotate once for every 2 rotations of the main camshaft. Because of this 2:1 ratio, twice the length of a part must be straightened with 1 straightener slide stroke. You must double the total part length and cutoff tool width, then add 125 thousandths extra margin and adjust the slide travel accordingly. This will slow the action of the straightener operation. If the straightener were run at the faster rate, excessive heat on the stock and excessive wear could occur on the straightener parts. You can now adjust the straightener slide travel. Loosen the slide roller bracket lock nut holding the slide roller bracket. Move the front edge of the slide roller bracket to correspond to the correct slide travel for the particular part. Lock down the lock nut. Adjusting the straightener slide travel for a particular job is a simple but important task which should not be overlooked. Whenever part length is changed for different jobs, the slide travel should be checked and reset if necessary. These are the stock clamping jaws located in front of the stock straightener. The purpose of the stock clamping jaws is to clamp the stock just before the straightener slide and rotor move backward in the stock straightener. The stock clamping jaws must be adjusted for each job depending upon the size of the stock. Clamping pressure on the stock should be adjusted until there is enough, but no more pressure than is needed to hold the stock. Located toward the operator control side of the machine is the fixed clamping jaw. The fixed clamping jaw is adjustable by loosening these two fixed clamping jaw locking collars. After loosening the two fixed clamping jaw locking collars, the fixed jaw may be adjusted by turning the fixed jaw adjusting ring. Located toward the back side of the machine is the movable clamping jaw. This jaw moves in the adjustable bushing. The movable clamping jaw is adjusted by loosening this movable clamping jaw lock nut. After loosening the lock nut, the jaw can be adjusted by turning the movable jaw adjusting screw. Movement of the movable clamping jaw causes the clamping action on the stock. The stock is clamped just as the friction clutch is disengaged and the stock straightener slide and rotor begin their backward travel for the stock straightening operation. The action of the movable clamping jaw comes from this clamping jaw control lever. The clamping jaw control lever rides on the clamping jaw cam. High point of the clamping jaw cam causes the jaws to clamp the stock. High point of the clamping jaw cam is timed with a backward movement of the straightener slide and rotor. Before adjusting the stock clamping jaws, inspect both clamping surfaces for wear. These surfaces will wear and become grooved. If a groove becomes too deep, the jaws must be changed or ground smooth. Thread the straightened stock with a proper diameter through the stock straightener, through the clamping jaws, camshaft start-stop lever, and into the feed rolls. Make sure the cam roller for the stock clamping jaw is riding on the low point of its cam. Clamp the feed rolls on the stock. Loosen the two locking collars for the fixed clamping jaw about 1 or 2 turns. Use a straight brass bar to break the collars loose. Turn the collar next to the adjusting ring counterclockwise and the collar near the fixed jaw clockwise to loosen them. Push the fixed jaw adjusting ring. This will move the fixed jaw until the jaw surface just touches the stock. Check to make sure the stock still travels in a straight line in front of the jaw surface. The stock should not bow in any direction. Lock down the two locking collars. Check to make sure the jaw surface does not move when locking down the collars. Next, loosen the lock nut for the movable clamping jaw adjustment screw a couple of turns. Turn the movable jaw adjusting screw until the jaw surface contacts the stock. Then back the jaw off approximately 5/1000ths of an inch. You can check the gap with a 5/1000ths feeler to make sure of the adjustment. Lock down the lock nut, making sure the movable jaw position does not move. This completes your television training tape on stock straightener slide and stock clamping jaws. You may watch this tape as many times as necessary to fully comprehend the material. When you have finished, return to the operator booklet for your next step.